Left-leaning Democrats got wiped out in the Illinois primaries yesterday, and the money trail, it tells you a big part about why. Right? AIPAC-affiliated groups, crypto PACs, and AI industry donors poured over $32 million into just 4 Chicago House races. And with them winning most of them, there are now real questions about whether these groups are quietly reshaping what the Democratic Party actually looks like. Especially as, among other things, the war in Iran makes their influence more controversial than ever. So Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller, former Representative Melissa Bean, and Lieutenant Governor Julia Stratton all won big yesterday. With Miller beating former Representative Jesse Jackson Jr., who had $1.4 million from a top AI super PAC after receiving nearly $4.5 million from an AIPAC-affiliated group. AIPAC groups also threw $4 million behind Bean. Stratton, backed largely by Governor J.B. Pritzker with $14.4 million from him, beat Representative Robin Kelly. And not only are these not small numbers, they tell a bigger story about who's actually picking the candidates. Right? Bean's ad campaign painted her opponent as a friend of Elon Musk and fossil fuel interests, even though he's a fairly progressive politician. Meanwhile, Bean herself is generally seen as a centrist ex-lawmaker, but heavy ad support from AI and crypto PACs portrayed her as more progressive than she's likely to govern. And in Illinois' 9th district, AIPAC spent most of the race attacking Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss. And because that's not the only person they went after, and because Biss won anyway and their candidate lost, they kind of just pivoted seamlessly, posting on Twitter that they were proud to have helped defeat Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, a fiercely anti-Israel candidate and would-be squad member. And that PR move, it didn't go unnoticed. Where you had a senior House progressive telling Axios, AIPAC wanted Daniel Biss to lose, and adding, it seems their spending harmed their candidate because it's so toxic in this politically active district. And then there's the transparency issue. AIPAC funneled its Illinois spending through new super PACs called Elect Chicago Women and Chicago Progressive Partnership, right? Names that don't exactly scream Israeli lobby. And they only claim credit after the results were in, which is also wild because you had people shouting, hey, that's anti-Semitic, when you had people saying that AIPAC was doing this. But also with all these races, right, the scale is hard to overstate. 4 Chicago House candidates saw more than $32 million in outside spending, led by AIPAC groups at upward of $20 million, with crypto and AI PACs filling in the rest. And understand, that's just Illinois. Reports say that AIPAC, the AI industry and the crypto sector, they have collectively had about $340 million to spend on political efforts at the start of this year. And yesterday's primaries, they were just a test run for reshaping the Democratic Party heading into the midterms. And the influence, I mean, it was visible even before the election. You saw some of these candidates openly posting pro-AI and pro-crypto positions, essentially flirting with these industries to attract financial back. And then on the other side of this, the left had a rough night. The Congressional Progressive Caucus landed just one of its 4 endorsed candidates, Biss. Justice Democrats, the group that had success unseating moderate incumbents in the past, they also came up short. And that's being seen as a real blow coming off of the energy that Mamdani's rise in New York and the New Jersey special election, for things that gave a lot of progressives hope that the party was pulling more and more left as the primaries progressed. But after yesterday, you have some saying not so fast and others arguing, you need different kinds of Democrats in different kinds of places. Though I would also argue, especially as you look at a lot of these races with just a lot of people, it's a really good argument for ranked choice voting. Right? Whether it's the surprise like in Boca Raton, Florida, of all of a sudden a Dem won by like 1 to 5 votes, though with well under 50% of the votes, there's that. Or Biss beating Abu-Ghazaleh, even though they were both well under 50%. But of course, it's just me with my eyes pointed towards the future and not the current situation on the ground, which obviously every candidate is going to have to navigate. But then also with everything we're talking about today, what makes all of this even messier is the war in Iran. AIPAC money that is backing Democratic candidates, it now comes with a war tag attached. And Stratton, the favorite to win her general election, which would actually make her part of the first time 3 Black women have served in the Senate simultaneously, she's pro-Israel. Miller opposed U.S. military aid to Israel, but supports a 2-state solution. Bean's a returning centrist. And these are the candidates that AIPAC's money helped select. And voters now have to weigh, what that money means for where these people land on the biggest foreign policy crisis in a generation. So you're seeing some Democrats saying things like, it's difficult to trust politicians who take money from weapons manufacturers and AIPAC, all of whom are for this war, and for those politicians to then stand up and say they are against the war. And more progressive Democrats think that the party should be rejecting AIPAC donations entirely to avoid the conflict of interest. Though you then have moderates saying that, you can take the money and then still oppose the war, accusing progressives of manufacturing a conflict for electoral gain. All of this, it's the tension that the Democratic Party is going to have to figure out, and figure it out fast. Because AIPAC and its allies, they have the money to pick winners. They just proved that in Illinois. But that money also comes with strings that are becoming harder and harder to ignore as the war is raging on in the Middle East, and voters are paying closer and closer attention to where their candidates' funding is coming from. Seemingly, the party is supposed to be anti-war, its donor class is backing pro-Israel candidates, its progressive wings getting outspent, and the infighting over whether to accept AIPAC money, it's exactly the kind of internal fracture that could cost Democrats seats that they need in November. And the Democrats aren't the only ones split on AIPAC. Right? In his resignation letter from the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent warned against AIPAC's influence on our government, and that was also something that wasn't received well by some on the right, like Ben Shapiro.
The letter is deeply, deeply conspiratorial. It states openly that, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Now, that is conspiracy trash.
Right, and $340 million, it buys a lot of candidates. We are seeing that, but the question that remains is whether it buys a party where voters actually want to show up for. And while time will tell how all this shakes out, in the meantime, I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below.